What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm your host, Andrea Renee, joined by my co-host, Miss Brittany Brombacher. Hello. And Miss Christine Steimer.
Hello.
What's going on, ladies? How is quarantine treating you?
Just fine.
Quarantine is a thing, and I am currently stalling because I'm trying to pull our new podcast reviewers.
Oh, okay. That's totally fine. So while Brittany is doing that, I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of What's Good Games, whether it's your first episode or your 150th episode. We're glad that you are part of our amazing community. Brittany and I have recently started an additional part of What's Good Games called What's Good Games Live. Our very first episode went up this week. Hopefully you found it in your podcast feed. So we like the idea of keeping it continuous with the What's Good Games regular feed and posting it, of course, at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. But we decided we're not going to number those episodes. Instead, we're going to kind of identify them by date, since the idea of the show is to do more topical news from that day and from the couple of days over the weekend. And then we're going to keep the regular Friday show as the show that we number by episode number. So hopefully that's not too confusing for you guys. But if you have questions, let us know. You can always reach out to us on Twitter at whatsgood_games. You can find us at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. You can find us on Instagram at whatsgoodgamesofficial. Or, you can just email us at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. And now you can find us on Twitch. We are officially an affiliate. Woo! Woo! So I did a bunch of streaming last week. My friend Anthony Carboni came by, and Brett and I did some streaming. The three of us did a really weird reacts video to that PlayStation 5 Mark Cerny talk. And so all of the streaming finally bumped us up to affiliate. So I know a lot of you had been reaching out and asking us, hey, can I give you my free Amazon sub through Twitch Prime? Twitch sub through Amazon Prime. And we were like, no, you can't, but now you can.
Woo, woo, woo. Look at us. Big girls.
Growing up in the world.
Hello, I am back in this conversation.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I've done the thing. Mission accomplished.
Also, the three of us had the amazing opportunity about a month ago to work on a top secret project with the folks at Patreon. And that project just went live this week. So Patreon is doing a big promotional push for their new website called creativityovereverything.com, which is essentially a big promotional tool to encourage creators to take advantage of Patreon as a platform. So we have some photos up on that website. If you watch the video on that site, you'll see us very quickly make a cameo. And then we have some fun like Instagram ads and other things that they shot with us that you maybe have seen. Apparently John saw the ad with you, Britt, on Instagram. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Hey, I'm famous.
He said he tried to take a screenshot.
That's famous.
And I was like, don't worry, they gave us the file.
Yeah, we have the files.
But it was a really cool thing that we got to be a part of. And just as a reminder, if you want to help support our creative voices in the video game space and you haven't contemplated membership on Patreon, we have some really cool exclusive content and membership levels there that you can check out. And then we have a lot of friends of ours that are also creating content on Patreon. So worth checking out if you've got the time and the funds to do so. But if you don't, then maybe you can leave us a podcast review.
Oh,
Hey, look at that segue.
That's a good segue.
I teed it up for you.
You did it so great, Andrea. All right, we have three fine podcast reviewers we would like to thank this week. We have Insipid Ghost, we have 9 Volts, and then we have what is that drink? They're all emojis. It's like a little
Champagne?
wine glass. No, it's not champagne. On the left, the far left one.
Oh,
It looks
you
like
know
a
what?
Tomato.
In my document, it came up as a square. That's an emoji fail.
This looks like the
It just
top
looks
of a
like a
wine
cocktail.
glass. A cocktail, and then 4 champagne glasses that are cheering, 8 that are cheering, rather. So thank you all so much. We talk about it on the show every now and again, but these podcast reviews really do help us out. They help us out in the algorithm. They help people find us because, with your approval, other people will think we're cool, and that's what we want. We just want your approval. Unlike the approval of Omega XEROXER.
Xeroxer. I haven't seen the word Xerox in a while.
Oh God, that is what that is, isn't it? Xerox. That was my life when I was an intern for Department of Corrections. I was queen of Xerox. This person has said, quotes, "We are the Fox News of video games podcasts."
That's an interesting take.
And they left us a 1-star review. So to combat the Xeroxer of the Omega variety, please head to your favorite podcast provider and leave us a review. Let us know what you think. If you don't like us, don't let us know.
You could just keep that review to yourself if you don't want to leave a 5-star review.
Just tell your dog, tell your cat, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that they said Fox News because only one of us is blonde, and I feel like almost all the people on Fox News are blonde.
Wow.
They are.
They are, though. Brittany, I was going to say, don't you ever watch Fox News?
I do. I'm hip and cool with today's world, and I that's me. I am an undercover Fox News anchor. I am working at What's Good Games to push my agenda on the world.
Well, could you
Surprise.
push the What's Good Games agenda on Fox News? Maybe it'll give us some more subscribers.
It's true. We would have a much bigger user base. If
No,
we were.
it's funny though that you bring up the 1-star review because that was one of the cheeky, sarcastic lines that we read for the Patreon project. Because when they first pitched us essentially they're calling it a brand film, but it feels kind of like a little bit like a little mini infomercial / commercial for Patreon. And they were like, we want to kind of emphasize the fact that a lot of creators are frustrated by some of the parameters that they have to work around in digital content creation, or some of the hurdles that get in the way of their fans being able to enjoy the stuff that they create. And one of the lines that we read was, I love it when a 1-star review tanks my ratings. Or what was the line,
An
Brittany?
anonymous, I love it when an anonymous 1-star reviewer tanks our ratings.
There it is.
Oh, you're so good.
How many times do you think you said that during our day of shooting?
Dude, a lot. And you know what other line keeps popping into my head is from the DICE Awards.
Oh.
What was once the purview of dedicated fans exploring text-only dungeons. I mean, it's like all in my head. I can't.
It will never leave.
I'm very proud of you. But thank you to everybody who does take the time to leave us a 5-star review. It really does mean a lot. And also, thank you to this month's Patreon producers, Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Mohammed Mohammed, Marcus Brown, Punkdefied, and Bittner. Plus, welcome to our Patreon community, Austin Riley, Israel Sandoval, Christian Pedraza, Megan Dutra, Mark Zapeta, Ian Sear, Alfonso Arellano. I'm sorry, Alfonso. Ryan Burkos, D-Pain, not to be confused with T-Pain. Lisa Souza, Matea Strand, Chris, Stormy, your guide, Janie Elze, Derek Najawist, Nikki Wertheim.
Wow, there were a lot of difficult names.
There were.
Wow.
I did my best, everybody.
did.
And on that
You
note,
tried.
let's get into the news. But before we do that, I want to let you know that this week's news segment is brought to you by ExpressVPN. So you might know how ExpressVPN protects your privacy and your security online, right? Or maybe you don't. So let me tell you about it. And maybe something else that you might not know, that you guys can use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. Pretty cool. Now that many of us, or almost all of us, are stuck at home, it's only a matter of time until we run out of stuff to watch on Netflix. So this whole week, I've been kind of surfing Netflix, figuring out what is the next thing I'm going to watch. I've finished Next in Fashion. I finished The Circle, which if you haven't watched is hilarious. And I'm like, what's the next thing in the queue that I want to watch? And boom, it hit me that you can use ExpressVPN to binge watch content from other countries. So it's simple to do. You just fire up the ExpressVPN app, change your location to the UK, to Japan, or whatever country has the content that you want to watch, refresh your Netflix app, and boom. That's it. Because ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. So you can choose from almost 100 different countries. So just think about all of the Netflix libraries that you can go through. Do you love anime? Use ExpressVPN to access Japanese Netflix in a spirited way. But it's not just Netflix. ExpressVPN works with any streaming service. Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason that we use ExpressVPN to watch shows is because it's ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD with no problem. ExpressVPN is also compatible with all of your devices, phones, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. And you can watch what you want on a personal device or on your big screen TV wherever you are. If you want to visit expressvpn.com. Of course, you know we have a special link because we've got a special offer. We need you to go to expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames and you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's right, you guys. I said for free. Plus, it supports everything we do here at What's Good Games, and you get to watch what you want. It's kind of a win-win. And did I mention you also can protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames. Now, I know I talked a lot about watching stuff on Netflix, but you know, some other adult websites have been talking about increases in traffic, and maybe you don't want everybody knowing about that. Your VPN can hide that too. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it at that. expressvpn.com/whatsgoodgames for 3 months of VPN service for free.
She was talking about porn.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brittany. Oh, wait. Steam? Porn? Steam? They're the same thing, right? No, they're not. Mm-hmm. They're not the same. So the first news story we have is about the coronavirus outbreak. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, a lot of the gaming news is centered around that, unfortunately, because it's really just the only thing a lot of us can think about these days. But what it does mean is that a lot of people are playing video games, and according to GameIndustry.biz, a record number of Steam users online are playing during the coronavirus outbreak. Steimer, would you like to read this one?
Sure, why not? So yes, as Andrea said, after less than a week, Steam has once again broken its concurrent user record, reaching 22.6 million, according to SteamDB. Quote, Steam just achieved a new peak concurrent user record of 22 million, one day after reaching 21 million and 6 days after reaching 20 million, said Nico Partners analyst Daniel Ahmad on Twitter. Global lockdowns and self-isolation due to COVID-19 has led to at-home gaming becoming a safe form of entertainment to pass the time, which is very true. What the funniest part to me is, so I'm only friends with my dad on Steam.
Oh, that's cute.
His habits are exactly the same.
Are your game libraries the same?
He's like me, and we both just stay inside and play games all day. But it was just funny. Anyways, so this is the original story back on March 16th. Leading online game services and platforms are seeing a surge of activity likely due to people self-isolating or being quarantined to stem the tide of the novel coronavirus. Of novel coronavirus? That's an interesting way of putting it. Huh. All right. Well, SteamDB, which tracks usage of Valve's marketplace, reports that there was a record number of concurrent online users over the weekend. More than 20.3 million people were using the service yesterday. As we said, that's already been eclipsed. Of these, 6.2 million were playing games at the same time. PC Gamer notes that this is almost 1 million less than the number of concurrent users in the game on New Year's Day 2018. One of the titles to benefit most from the people flooding in was Valve's own Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which reached a record number of concurrent plays according to Eurogamer. The game saw 1 million players all online together on Saturday, the first time the game has passed this milestone in 8 years.
Wow.
That's
Finally,
crazy.
It appears. Yeah. Finally, it appears it's not just PC services that people are turning to for entertainment during the outbreak. Reports emerged over the weekend that Xbox Live suffered some downtime, with Xbox boss Phil Spencer indicating that this downtime was due to increased number of users on the service. In a tweet, he said, quote, usage is up on almost everything. Thanks go out to all the ops/IT teams at all the companies that are working hard to keep everything running smoothly with all going around them.
Not surprising that everybody's working from home and playing games. Just as like an aside, and when you were like, the novel coronavirus. So it's called the novel coronavirus because the coronavirus is actually like a broad family of viruses that a bunch of different illnesses fall under. And COVID-19 is called novel coronavirus because it's a mutation of that virus family. And so COVID-19 is the specific strain, but like the kind of like more generic term is not just coronavirus, it's novel coronavirus because it's a very specific mutation.
got it. Today I learned.
So yeah, it's kind of surprising when people are home, they're going to play video games. What else do you
I mean,
do?
yeah, like there's, I mean, I read books. There's puzzles. There's like, there are other things to do, but
there are.
In terms of escape, I think games is one of the things that allows you to fully kind of dive in more than anything else.
Speaking of escape, Liquid Music Entertainment from patreon.com/whatsgoodgames has a question for us, ladies. And it is, during this quarantine, are there games you stay away from to clear your mind from this virus outbreak? I stay away from any games about T-virus or apocalyptic times just to cleanse my palate. I have been playing Spider-Man, Mario Kart, racing games with the kids, and so on. Just need that break from reality.
I mean, not that a T-virus is reality, but I understand the mentality behind that. I can see that. Yeah, I do right now because, I mean, so far again, I don't have it very bad at all, right? Like I'm super privileged, but there is still like that overlooming sense of anxiety of like not knowing how long all of this will happen. So I tend to now go toward more calming, soothing video games.
Like one Animal Crossing, probably.
Like an Animal Crossing, which we'll discuss later in the show.
Yeah. You know, I was talking about this, was that just last week, about how I had a hard time playing Doom. But then I hopped immediately into the Resident Evil 3 demo, and that was cathartic as fuck. So I think it probably...
To each their own. But that's like a comfort food for you.
It is, yeah. It's a very cathartic experience. The inventory management, I just fucking love it so much. But I also have been dabbling in Animal Crossing. Usually, like, my go-to game for stress relief is a Story of Seasons, like Stardew Valley kind of game. Those are just games that whisk me away and make the time go by very, very fast. But... Yakuza obviously has been my go-to, but I've kind of like had to put the brakes on that because some other games have come up. But I got through to Yakuza 0, 1, and 2, and that has really made the past few weeks go by fast, especially when I was sick and I couldn't even like talk to my husband for like a week. That was not great. But yeah, to each their own. What about you, Andrea?
You know, I want to say that I've been playing a lot more, but I haven't. I've been playing about the same amount. There's definitely like a list of games that I want to get to, but I've been really trying to use this time to focus my mental energy on creating content and working. So I've actually been spending a lot of time in the studio. So I've been spending a lot of time working on graphics, a lot of time, researching how to do specific kinds of animation, been thinking about, I've been streaming more. Which is good, but I think for me, like I two ways for me to get my mind off of everything that's happening is to play games, which I have been doing, but not an excessive amount, and also working and trying to figure out new ways to diversify not only what we're doing at What's Good Games, but my personal business as well, which was hit pretty hard by all the cancellations. And so I have the privilege of having my work from home set up here, and so I'm like, well, it's here, better just keep working. Keep finding new ways to, diversify and pivot. And I think a lot of creatives who work in the freelancer gig industry are having to think about how to pivot their personal creative businesses to kind of manage what's happening. And it's not necessarily just creatives. Like, obviously, this has affected a lot of people. So, but yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to work from home. I would just be chilling and catching up on stuff. Like a friend of mine who works in production, who works for one of the daytime TV shows here in Hollywood, like she can't do her job when they're not at the studio shooting the show. And so she's like literally just home being like twiddling her thumbs, making all these really funny Facebook posts about how she's slowly going crazy.
Oh no.
Because she doesn't play games. She doesn't play video games. So she's a musician. So she's writing some new music and doing stuff. I mean, I know, but like imagine though that you're not a gamer or your experience with video games is from years and years ago, or maybe you only play games on your phone. And like you aren't set up and now you're in quarantine and it's not like you can just run down to Best Buy and grab an Xbox. And especially since a lot of the Amazon deliveries that are dubbed non-essentials have been delayed by multiple weeks, at least from what I've been hearing from people. So
yeah, no, they have.
So it's like, I guess the only place you could go and maybe pick something up is Target. Cause I had to go to Target to get some cat food. And so I was like, oh, all of Target is open right now. This is great.
So crazy. I know I saw something on Twitter of a meteorologist, I believe, set up a home studio at her house, like in her kitchen or something. I don't know where it was, but she had like the green screen and she had all the lighting and the camera and all of the tech. And it's crazy how these, broadcast journalist folk are pivoting, but you do what you got to do when you can. Obviously not everyone can do that, but I thought about that several times. What would I fucking do if I didn't have video games right now? Like, obviously staying busy is one thing, but it's I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of TV, I don't watch a lot of movies. I would probably go crazy.
I do appreciate how Seth Meyers, I think it was, he's one of the late night talk show hosts, was admitting how well YouTubers have home video figured out, and like all of these professional broadcast people are like, how do I get my webcam to turn on? Like, what microphone do I use?
They're like, someone else used to do this for me. How do I do this?
Yeah, and so they were giving props and shout outs to YouTubers who've been doing it at home for decades.
Figuring this shit out.
Yeah, and I was just like, thank you, but I mean, we all probably would want to be working in a studio with an army of people doing everything for us too if we had the choice.
Yes, please.
Oh my gosh, but yeah, it's weird to see, like, even like, I don't know if you guys have caught ESPN at all, and like them trying to have a semblance.
Folks.
Oh my God. I mean, they kind of got it the worst, because at least like the news people still have stuff to talk about, but like all major sports are like not operating right now. And so it's like ESPN is just like pulling the dredges of evergreen content out of their butt. And it's just like, oh my God, those poor producers. It's like you almost want them to just like start running just marathoning, the 30 for 30 like documentaries, and just tell everyone to take a break for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Just give us all the Super Bowls. Give us some excitement. I don't know. Poor guy. I know I turned the TV on the other day and it was on ESPN, and it was some athlete just talking about COVID-19. It was like a 35-minute interview because I had it on in the background, and it was nothing. Like, no offense to the athlete. I don't know who it was, but they're just like, please give us content.
They're just like, fill time,
please. Help us. Yeah.
We are a 24-hour network. Please help.
I know. But they're doing a good job for, what little they have. So good job, ESPN. I know none of you probably listening to the show, but if you are, I'm giving you props.
Yeah, we're just telling you that, your job, we understand how difficult your job is on a normal basis, but thank you for taking a moment to understand how difficult our job is too. Well, that's not as easy as you think it is it? That's all I had to say.
Thankfully, our industry never sleeps, so we never run out of shit to talk about.
Exactly. Speaking of more shit to talk about, YouTube will limit video quality worldwide for next month, reports Polygon. YouTube will default all video streams, including ours, around the world to standard definition for the next month, according to a statement provided to Polygon. This comes after an initial report by Bloomberg detailing the plan. A similar strategy has been employed in Europe. The decision comes as global internet traffic has spiked due to social distancing measures being taken to combat the spread of the novel coronavirus. Quote, we continue to work closely with government and network operators around the globe to do our part to minimize stress on the system during this unprecedented situation, Google has said in a statement. Users will still have the ability to watch high-definition feeds, but will have to manually adjust the quality in their player. Oh, that's good to know. On Friday, the state of Illinois joined New York, California, and other states with large population centers in issuing a so-called shelter-in-place order. 1 second. I swear I'm not sick. It's just allergies, everybody.
Oh, no.
It's just allergies. Where was I? On Friday, oh yes, the shelter in place. These measures are intended to halt the spread of COVID-19, for which there is no cure. These orders have resulted in increased traffic for many companies, including streaming giant Netflix and Amazon's Twitch platform. On Tuesday, Sony also announced that it would limit the speed of downloads to its PlayStation customers in light of increased demand. Oh, so that's why everything's been so slow. And in an update provided to Polygon, Google said in an email that it would limit video quality to standard definition by default. Oh, they've already updated the article to reflect that. We read that part already. My bad.
Interesting. I guess, I didn't realize so many people watch their stuff. I'm assuming they're banking on a lot of people watching their shit in standard definition and not taking the strenuous effort to upgrade it to HD.
Well, if you're watching a long form piece of content, like something like our show, for example, and you have it like on a second screen, or if you have it windowed and you're like listening to it, you're not necessarily watching it, you don't really need it to be on like 1080p, right? And a lot of people will put YouTube playlists on just to listen to music, despite the fact that YouTube has created a separate app for it. A lot of people still don't use it. So I would guess that has to do with it too. Also, people watching on their phones probably don't need it in high definition. But I mean,
I'd be curious to see what the breakdown is.
Oh, I would love to see that data. How many people watch? Because I know, like, I was talking about it with some other friends of mine who work on video, because we were talking about the merits between uploading video in 720 versus 4K, and like who 4K makes sense for, and if it makes sense to put 4K 60 frames per second gameplay up if people aren't even watching it, if like, less than 5% of your audience who watches your video actually watches it in 4K, because managing those files is so much more difficult than managing 720p files. But that was a while ago. But what we found out from some of our friends that worked at YouTube Gaming was that the vast majority of people, even I think as late as 2018, were still watching everything in 720p.
Huh.
And I was like, that's surprising considering how ubiquitous maybe is the word I'm looking for, 1080p is as a format. And now I feel like a lot more people have 4K televisions than had just standard 1080p or HD TVs, because I didn't upgrade to a 4K TV until I got my Xbox Series X. So that launched, what was that, 2017 or 2018? Not Series X. Did I say Series X?
Maybe
yeah, you
it's
did.
happened.
If I did, I meant Xbox.
You meant Xbox One
X.
X. Yeah.
Like maybe 2018, because that's what also encouraged me to get maybe that was my PS4 Pro. I don't know what came out sooner.
I
don't remember.
When did the Xbox One X come out? No, it didn't come out in 2013. Google, that is incorrect.
That's very wrong. Very, very, very. Xbox One X release date. We're going to the Google machine. It was November of 2017.
Oh, so it was 2017. Okay.
I think. Wait, no. Yeah?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Roughly
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Cool. Anyway.
Anywho. It would be curious to know how many people watch our show in 1080p versus other formats.
Just turn down that pixel.
Yeah,
that
you don't really
pixel
need
count.
it. We all look
Yeah.
better in 720.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
why
like
don't I
people-
just for funsies, what I'll do is I'll upload this week's video in 720p and see the difference. Look at the difference.
Nice.
Because it'll
be
be
like,
Yes.
suck it.
The file will
everybody
be
who
much
wanted
smaller.
1080p.
And I'm getting like terrible bandwidth. I don't know how you guys have been doing with your internet speeds, but now that everybody is working from home, it like has put a giant bottleneck on upload speeds here.
Oh yeah, you said uploading our last show to YouTube, What's Good Games Live, which was like a 50-minute show, took like 5 hours. It was insane.
Yeah, it was terrible. I have Spectrum coming out to the house this weekend to take a look, but I'm fully expecting them to be like, "Oh yeah, there's nothing we can do," and I'll be like, "Cool, so you're gonna give me a discount then, right? Because I'm pretty sure I'm paying for a speed that I'm not getting, and it's not my problem that your network can't handle it." Because I'm pretty sure if I can't pay my bill because I'm not working because of COVID-19 shutdown, you're going to say that's not your problem and I have to pay it anyway. Gotcha. No,
You ran this through your head.
the whole
Are you the
situation's
kind of
terrible.
person like while you're taking a shower, you like get in imaginary fights in your head? You know?
I feel like she is.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Oh, come
Like-
on. Don't make it seem like you also have not like gone through what you
Oh,
would
I've
say
done
to
that
somebody
before.
in your head.
No. We all have. It was just for the joke.
Those
the sense
mental
of joke.
shower fights.
Yeah, where you get
It's
yourself
like,
all worked up.
I hope they come at me sideways because I will give them a piece of my mind.
And this is exactly
And
what
then
I'm
they
going to say.
don't, and then you're like, damn it.
Yeah, and then you get
Now I
yourself
have
all
to be
worked up
nice
for
to
nothing.
you.
Yeah. Real quick, I think this is the last story about COVID-19, I hope. I just want to give like Andrew was saying, all the news right now is about it, but there's some uplifting stories that have been regarding this in terms of like what the industry is doing. Nintendo donated nearly 10,000 respirator masks to American healthcare workers. So good job, Nintendo.
That's great.
Teachers are using Half-Life Alyx, well, at least one teacher is, Half-Life Alyx to deliver their lessons in VR. So I saw the brief like photos and video of this, and it looks like they're teaching geometry. This teacher was, and that's like I hated that topic in high school. I hated that subject so much. Talking about like angles and like vectors and all sorts of shit, but still very cool that like people are getting so innovative.
It was visual, and I could understand the visual.
I was an algebra girl. I loved algebra, but I did not get the geometry. I don't care about
the opposite.
Parallelograms or whatever. Maybe I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And then Minecraft is offering free education packs to kids stuck at home, which is a really cool thing they have. They have these educational programs and systems, I guess, that kids can download, and they'll teach you about, I don't know, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, so I saw that too.
And they're bored. There you go.
And one more thing to add to that, it's part of our, in case you missed it, but you're talking about, kind of feel-good things happening in the video game industry in response to the pandemic. Plague Inc. is a game that's been around for a really long time, and we were going to talk about that in case you missed it, but essentially, they've been getting a lot of attention since COVID-19 first came onto the world stage, and because of its increased popularity, the developer said that they voluntarily made a $250,000 donation, which was split between the Coalition of Epidemic Preparedness Innovations and the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. A quote from the team said, "We are proud to be able to help and support the vital work of the WHO and the CEPI as they work towards funding a vaccine for COVID-19." And that quote came from James Vaughn, who is the creator of the game.
Very, very cool. So now on to more uplifting video games. Silent Hill. Konami shoots down recent rumors of a reboot.
Wah, wah, wah.
Konami has denied, this comes from IGN, Konami has denied that it is working on a new Silent Hill game following numerous rumors suggesting the series would be returning. Talking to Rely on Horror, I almost said Rely on Humor, a Konami US PR spokesperson said, We're aware of all the rumors and reports, but can confirm they are not true. I know it's not the answer your fans may want to hear. It's not to say we are completely closing the door on the franchise, just not in the way it is being reported, they added. Recent rumors pointed to 2 new projects in the Silent Hill series, which were allegedly set to soft reboot the franchise. One would be a new game in the series, while the other would be an episodic game with gameplay akin to Until Dawn and Man of Medan. This rumor was quickly followed by teases that Kojima Productions is also working on Silent Hills. Rely on Horror pressed for further details regarding these projects specifically, but Konami has provided no further response. The resulting picture is that it appears Konami may want to visit Silent Hill at some point, but the direction it will take is not what recent rumors and speculation has suggested.
Wah, wah. Does that mean you owe Andrea a drink?
It means I owe What's Good Games a bottle of alcohol. Well, granted,
we have until the end of the year. That was
okay. Oh, yeah.
But as of right now, Andrea's in the lead. So it's looking like I will be buying us a drink, which is very sad. It's a very sad bit that we constructed, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that
I really want to read the next story.
That all of us get to benefit.
Also, I just want to say real quick, Konami is the same studio that once said Hideo Kojima was on a vacation and that he had not been fired.
I mean, it's a different kind of vacation.
I mean, maybe he at the time he hadn't been, and then he was like, "Yeah, fuck you," and then they're like, "Well, actually, we take it back. You are fired."
Actually, take your PTO and shove it. Bye.
They're like, "Bye, you're on vacation. LOL, you've been canned." So we'll see. Yes. But the plot thickens, the fog thickens, if you will.
It does indeed. We do not know which way Silent Hill may come at us.
Ooh.
That's what she said. Steimer, go for it.
Yeah, I just love this headline so much. This is from IGN. Final Fantasy VII Remake's Cloud can be, quote, a bit lame, says writer. The writer of Final Fantasy VII Remake has revealed that he has scripted the new version of Cloud to show a different side of the character, noting that he is nervous about how fans will receive the change. Talking in a new Inside Final Fantasy VII Remake documentary video, story and scenario writer... Oh, shit. Kazushige Nojima, who is one of the returning developers from the original game, explained that Remake has allowed him to explore Cloud's personality further. Quote, "For this game, I have gone much deeper into the inner psychology of Cloud, the main character. In the original, I depicted him as a cool, stylish character. However, this time, he can miss the mark and be a little cringeworthy at times. His cool facade can often slip. Because he wants people to accept him and respect him, he puts on a front. So when he doesn't know something, he just goes, not interested. I have written him in a way that makes you think that not interested might not be a cool thing to say, but can sometimes be a bit lame. I am nervous about whether the fans will accept that or not. Cloud isn't the only character Remake is revealing more about. In the same video, co-director Motomu Toriyama, damn it, I need to take this Japanese app that you have, revealed that the game will provide more information about Aerith. Quote, in Remake, we actually reveal quite a major untold part of Aerith's past. You might not even catch it all.
This is, I mean, I'm sure some of this is translation too, because, you know, we just have different words than.
Yes.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, I think this, if you look at this from a general perspective, I think this makes a lot of sense. Cloud is a very, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I know this game's old, but people are probably going to experience it for the first time, so whatever. But he's a very troubled character, and after you've played the game, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think the fact that this is a returning developer from the original game and he wants to explore Cloud's psychology, I think that was the quote. Yeah, psychology of Cloud. I think that's perfect. I think that will be great for him, and I think it's warranted. A bit lame, like, you know, he says Cloud has always been kind of like a cool facade, but Cloud always kind of came across as a heartless asshole until, like, obviously the story unravels, and then you learn some shit, and then okay, that makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, this is good. I think
That's how I love it when people are just cold assholes and then you learn something about them and you're like, oh, all right, yeah.
Okay, like, yeah, I can forgive you.
I understand. Well, I don't even know if it's that. You just,
know?
It's like, this is why you are the way that you are.
Well,
and I've never finished Final Fantasy VII. I played like, honestly, probably only 20% of it.
Oh, yeah, you should, I mean, if you have interest.
I'm definitely going to play the remake.
Okay, because I think, because the remake is obviously just Midgar, so getting to the point of, like, we discover Cloud is probably not going to come out for another, like, 4 or 5 years at this pace.
I will forget all about Cloud, and then I will remember Cloud later, and I don't know. It'll be an interesting journey.
Interesting journey. We have a question from Mitch Krasin, who says, with the record amount, patreon.com/what'sgoodgames, with the record amount of people staying home, do you think games like Final Fantasy VII have a better or worse chance to sell better? There's more people to play the games, but no real access to physical copies easily.
I don't actually think it's the access to physical copies that's a problem. I think it's money. I think it's people not necessarily having budget for games at this time. If you are somebody who is out of work right now, the last thing you're probably going to want to spend $60 on is a video game, especially one like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is only part of the game. So I think if you were going to buy a video game at this time and you were on a budget, you would probably spend your money on either a little bit here and there on free-to-play games like a Call of Duty or a whatever Fortnite sort of experience, just because you're just trying to stretch that dollar. Stretch it as far as it'll go. And this, for games like this, it is not the kind of game that lends itself very well to that. So that is the part I see being a potential problem for games right now.
I could see Final Fantasy VII going either way. I think this is a game that people have been looking forward to a very long time. I mean, literally since, like, I don't even know how long, 20 years, maybe-ish. Maybe that's a little long. Anyway, around that realm. A remake or, like, something to do with this game since it originally released. And I think, though, if people are going to spend money on a game, I would argue that Final Fantasy VII might be the one, because I think it's something that has been so anticipated for so long that people are looking for a little bit of blip of happiness, and perhaps a lot of folks have already pre-ordered and paid off. But, like, I'm with you, Steinberg. I think it just depends on the situation, like what situation you're in. I think right now, as we're going to see with the Animal Crossing numbers below, I think people are looking for an escape and looking to kind of, get their mind off of shit going down. And Final Fantasy VII, although it is a remake, there are a lot of new features added, some new areas, some locations, some expanded lore, and it is still going to be a full-size game. Like, I think they're saying, 40 or something hours. So
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, when you actually budget it down, I think games in general always get a bad rap. Like, they are consistently one of the best bang for your buck out there. But I do think if you were a family on a budget or whatever right now, you might look at it and be like, maybe not at this time.
But I think it's interesting looking at where the industry is in relationship to how Doom and Animal Crossing did. And, like, I think that, there's obviously like an argument to be made about people having their Doom and their Animal Crossing games pre-ordered or potentially paid for in advance. But I think on one hand, it'll be interesting to watch to see how they do from a sales perspective. But on the other, how they're going to do from a distribution, because Square Enix is definitely a brick and mortar retailer. They release almost everything at retail. And we saw just how devastating it was for people who had their Animal Crossing orders canceled at the last minute. And then they were like, well, I paid for it to be shipped by, Target, Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, whoever, to get an actual disc shipped to them, or a game card, whatever. And they didn't get it. And then if they wanted to play, they either had to try to get a refund from the person they bought it from, or they had to just buy it again digitally and then have to go through the process of returning the game, when it finally arrives. And that's unfortunate for people. And I think I never anticipated something like a worldwide pandemic would push people into digital quicker. But we talked about this last week on the show too, that maybe this is it. Maybe this is what forces everybody to upgrade. I mean, we're still restricted even more so now by telecoms and ISPs throttling people. It's worse now than it ever has been because everybody's on their home networks all at the same time. But it's really the only option. How else are you going to get to play it unless you download it digitally?
Right.
Yeah.
And we talked about last week too. They're saying that if you did pre-order Final Fantasy VII physical, there is a chance. I mean, they are getting delayed. So it just depends. Like Andrea said, is it easy to cancel? And if so, I think those same people are going to go digital. And if they're crazy like me, they'll probably get physical and digital.
Ooh.
That's what she said. Oh, that's what she said.
Oh, ooh. I don't know how that works, but it sounds interesting.
I like it. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Lame Cloud in physical and digital. It's great.
All right, to wrap it up for the week, let's talk about what you may have missed. So on What's Good Games Live, we covered a bunch of topics from over the weekend. So if you guys are like, well, hey, what about this thing? Why aren't you guys talking about this? We probably covered it on the previous episode. You should check that out. Britt, you also put something in here.
So I'm laughing at this Thomas the Tank mod.
You want to read that one?
Yeah, read it.
Okay. So modders have already put Thomas the Tank engine in Resident Evil 3's demo. This is coming from usgamer.net, and I'm watching the video. So in the demo, there's a part where Nemesis busts through a wall, and in this demo, it is 100% Thomas the Tank engine busting through the wall. And it's the same fucking silly ass jingle that's going on, and I just love it so much. Thomas the Tank Engine, I feel like your game isn't complete until there is a mod featuring this tank engine. Yeah,
the Skyrim one was really good.
That
one
makes
you laugh so much. I love putting Thomas the Tank Engine in random shit. If the game had that instead of Nemesis, I might play it.
I mean, you might be able to do it on PC. Get that controller support going, baby girl.
Yeah, it works.
Oh my
you can
God.
I tried it. You can do controller support on Steam in Resident Evil, and it doesn't matter because it's not like you're playing a PvP shooter. So.
Oh my God, Simmer, you'll have to watch this video when you have a minute. It is so fucking funny.
I just love with the fucking whistles too. Where they're like.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Moving on, via Famitsu, Animal Crossing New Horizons sold 1.8 million 1.88 million copies in its first 3 days of release in Japan. This number includes physical game copies, download cards, and the Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch bundle, but does not include digital sales via the Nintendo eShop.
That's where I bought mine.
Yeah, New Horizons has now surpassed Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield's 1.36 million units as the best-selling opening week for a Switch title in Japan. The Switch's hardware sales were 390,000, which is higher than the console's launch week. I wrote that in and I had really bad grammar, my bad. Obviously, Animal Crossing is doing very, very well. And we have a question from patreon.com/what'sgoodgames, Delilah Lugo. Do we think Animal Crossing's huge success is partially due to the game being just the right of relaxation and escapism during this tough time? Similarly, do we think games taking place in any sort of apocalyptic setting like RE3 or The Last of Us 2 may do less well because they're heavy and maybe a bit too close to reality? I'm going to play either anyway. I'm just hoping things improve.
I mean, I think Animal Crossing was always going to do really well. There was a lot of hype around this game before all of, quarantine happened. But I do think that there probably is an element to it where yeah, Animal Crossing, especially if you don't know anything about Animal Crossing, you're like, it's an adorable game. Look at this cute shit. Look at these animals. It seems relaxing. It's whatever. Like you're just like, sure, let me go to this dumb island and hang out with anthropomorphic animals. That sounds like a great fucking time because I'm currently alone in my house and cannot do anything.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me to a lesser scale, I would say, as the Pokemon Go phase where your timeline was nothing but Pokemon Go for that moment, for those several
timeline
months.
is just Animal Crossing.
It is just Animal Crossing, and you're seeing people visit each other's islands and sending letters and sending gifts and talking about how cute and relaxing it is. But I was bit by a tarantula and I died, I fainted, and that was actually
not. You didn't die, but yeah,
I fainted, and that was not relaxing at all. But I think that has a lot to do with it too. I mean, a lot of people are home and they're just kind of going to social media and they're seeing all these photos and all these folks talking about how relaxing the game is, how much fun they're having, and I would say, yeah, it definitely does impact the sales of the game. Some people who probably weren't interested in it, like you were saying, Simon, are seeing it and they're like, okay, this looks relaxing. I'm going to give it a shot.
Not only that, it does in a way give you more of a chance for social interaction, right? Like because you can go to your friends' islands, you can have whatever. I've seen people on Twitter with fake birthday, or not fake, but like online birthday parties or like gatherings or whatever in the game because you just can't see anybody right now. So I think that the game just fucking coincidentally allows you to have all of this shit at the time where you can't have it in real life. So that, expands upon it. But I don't know about RE3 or Tlu. Like, it's possible, but I feel like those games, again, we're going to have to see what the climate of the world at those times of launch. But
I think it's something worth, exploring down the line because I've had some people say to me that they don't understand how I can keep playing The Division 2. And The Division 2 was literally about an infectious outbreak and the fall of society from an infectious disease. And, when you run around DC, you see these like makeshift hospitals with these beds set up in tents. And like, it does kind of make it a little bit hard to swallow when you're thinking about the correlations of what that means for society now. Now, to be clear, like the green flu and The Division is nothing like COVID-19. And while COVID-19 is a very serious illness and is causing a lot of deaths worldwide, it is not the same kind of pandemic that is created in the fictional world of Tom Clancy, right? And, they made it much more dramatic for the sake of it being fictionalized. And I think for me, I still look at The Division 2 as being so fantasy-based that I don't have a problem playing it. And I don't know if some of that is just a little bit of narrative numbness because I've played so many hours of that game. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, like the story is important, of course. And I think it's interesting. And there was much more story in The Division 2 than there was in The Division 1. But it doesn't bother me playing it, but I absolutely can see why somebody would feel triggered by playing a game like The Division 2.
Yeah, I think The Last of Us 2 would be harder because that game is story, right? That is the whole focus of the game. Whereas I do feel like you could kind of tune it out in The Division. And really, if you're like, this is really just me hanging out with my friends, going around like doing a looter shooter, fun, whatever. Yeah, I feel like you could easily disengage. Whereas I don't think you're going to be able to do that at all in Tlu.
No.
And it's honestly, the game already has been upsetting me, like just with the stuff that they've shown already. So yeah, like honestly, I don't know if I would want to play that game right now. Just being real,
it's hard.
I feel like I might not. I feel like I might wait until things are a little better, and then give it a go.
Yeah, again, like I think it just comes down to personal preference, right? Like what makes you tick and what doesn't. Like Resident Evil 3 demo, very relaxing to me, and that is all about an outbreak that has, wiped out an entire city. Granted, they turn into zombies and there's weird survival mechanics with, puzzles and item management. So there is kind of like that. It's not like Tlu in the sense that I don't think it's so anchored in reality, whereas like you're saying, Tlu anchored in reality, but Andrea is able to play The Division 2, which a lot of people aren't. So it's just, all preference, but I can see games taking a hit to some extent. Maybe not like a huge hit, but a hit nonetheless.
I don't think they're going to take a hit like movies are going to take a hit, right? Like movies are taking a hit because theatrical releases aren't possible. And while I think it's awesome to see the film industry pivot to digital, also like maybe you just start doing digital releases alongside theatrical and let people decide if they want to go to the theater or watch it at home. Maybe that's one of those
because there's
hidden
people
bonuses.
like me who just don't go to the theater regardless of what you do.
There's a lot more
like that
movies I
idea
would
a lot,
buy.
actually.
Yeah, because there's a ton of movies that I'm like, I can't be bothered to go to the theater to watch that, but I'll eventually pay for it to rent it or to stream it. Like, it's rare that I want to see a movie and I wait until it's on a free streaming option, like it's part of my free Netflix or part of my free HBO. If there's a movie that I miss in the theater that I want to watch, I have absolutely no problem paying for digital access or digital renting when it's brand new, whether that be like the $20 fee or like the higher rental fee. Because I'm like, yeah, I want to see it. And it still ends up being cheaper than going to a movie theater in a metro like Los Angeles, like where you can't even go to a matinee for like less than $12 a ticket. So plus a convenience fee, plus parking, plus a $10 popcorn and a $10 soda, and boom, there you are. It's like a $50 movie.
I wonder if that would actually benefit the movie industry. I don't know enough about it, obviously, but I'm thinking about, let's say The Ring 4 is coming, to digital theaters and actual physical theaters worldwide. I would love to make a little mini event of that, right? Where I like plan for it streams, movie night. But sometimes what I find is like, I won't be able to go to the theater to see these movies. And by the time they come to Netflix or Xfinity or whatnot, I forget about them. And then I just never see them anyway. So they never get my money.
Yeah, I only see movies on planes. But I can't, not now anymore, obviously. But that's where I see a lot of things. It's like international flights. So I'd be like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that movie. Guess I'll watch it.
I'm with you. I think it makes sense for a lot of movies, but obviously doesn't make sense for giant blockbuster movies. Like you wouldn't see that for like an Avengers or like a Star Wars. Right? Like, or like a Fast 9, right? Like they're still going to make those like theater exclusives to milk those like IMAX screenings and 3D and Real D and Dolby and all the different ways that you can get premium theater experiences. But I think it makes sense for the vast majority of feature films that are released. Your rom-coms, your horrors, your like documentaries.
Dude, give me all of the rom-coms right now. I want to watch stupid fucking movies. That's all I want to watch.
Hallmark Channel, baby girl. Hallmark Channel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have cable.
Oh.
Can you get the Hallmark
YouTube, baby girl, YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube TV maybe.
In standard definition.
Yeah. You get it in 480p only.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? That's all I need. It doesn't matter.
You got to watch it in 4:3 like the good old days. All right. One last, in case you missed it, before we go into our first break. British gaming studio Splash Damage has announced that it is working on an unannounced Google Stadia exclusive. Unfortunately, the developers won't be sharing any details on the project quite yet, but promise more details in the coming months.
Remember Stadia, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so Splash Damage.
You can't remember something that never went away.
Oh.
It's just there.
It's just a thing. I'm mostly known, I think, for their multiplayer on Gears is my
Splash Damage. So they did a game that I really loved that went kind of under the radar called Brink, which you may remember.
Oh my God, Brink. Dude, yeah, they were selling copies of that for like $4 at Best Buy. And I bought like 10 of them and I gave them all away.
I loved Brink, and I thought that it was misunderstood, and a lot of people didn't get a chance to play it. They also had a multiplayer, I think a 5v5 semi-recently that I am going to look up now.
Splash Damage games developed. Recently, we have Gears Tactics, which is, that's coming out. Halo, the Master Chief Collection PC version. Gears 5 multiplayer. Gears of War 4 multiplayer. They did Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Tempo, Dirty Bomb multiplayer. Arkham Origins. Brink, Quake Wars, Doom 3 multiplayer. Wolfenstein Enemy Territory. And now we're all the way back in 2002.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Dirty Bomb was the name of the game that I was thinking of.
Dirty Bomb.
That was kind of, it had like a cult following, but it was kind of a short-lived game as well. There's just like so much competition in the online multiplayer space that you really either have to come with a unique concept or the gameplay has got to be so phenomenally good that, people have to pick it up and play it. That's why it'll be interesting to see, it feels like there's a couple of different shooters. Like one of the new ones that came out this week that I'm excited to try is Bleeding Edge from Ninja Theory that was launched this week and is available on Xbox. and I haven't really played any of it. I've heard about it. I've seen it played at one show that I was at, but haven't really tried it a lot myself. But I feel like so many of these hero-based shooters come and go, but people just keep going back to Overwatch, you know, and they keep going back to their squad-based games like Rainbow Six, or they'll go back, you know, to the other multiplayer games that are kind of tried and true for them, whether it be Call of Duty or Fortnite or PUBG or CSGO, whatever their shooter of choice is that isn't the new thing. I feel like the last new IP that really made a splash was probably Apex, right?
Yeah.
That was like what, a year ago?
It was a year ago.
A yearish. Yeah. No, it's I
Right?
think you're right
I'm
though.
like,
I think I don't know if it was it a whole year ago? I don't
No,
remember.
it was definitely at least a year ago. I just can't remember if it was 2 years ago.
Wait, was it?
No, I think
time is a flat circle.
because they
and I never
won.
know.
They won best online
it
game
last
of the
year?
year.
It
Brittany
was
and I.
definitely last year.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
last
Brittany and I handed Vince that award at the Dice Awards.
Well,
No,
then
like-
there you go.
It was definitely last year. I'm wondering, has it been? Was it like March of 2019?
It was
Has
February. No, it was February.
Holy shit! That's insane.
I just-
Yeah,
to
man.
me, all of the years they're starting to melt together, so I don't.
Ugh.
I never actually know.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon, all of the days will melt together more. I was talking to somebody, and I was like, March has felt like a year, and she reminded me, yeah, we came back from PAX this month,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy shit,
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
crazy.
Time is a flat circle, as you like to say, Steimer. And now my husband's saying that all the time, too. Speaking of it being time and you don't know what time it is, this is a weird segue. We're going to take our first break of the show, and probably our only break of the show. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we've been playing, including Animal Crossing New Horizons. You knew we were going to talk about it. I put my Oculus Quest headset back on for the first time in a long time. And spoilers, Brittany's been playing more Yakuza, which she talked about on What's Good Games Live, and there's a game that she can't talk about, so she's not going to talk about that. But Animal Crossing, everybody, stick with us. We'll be right back. What's good, everybody? Welcome back. It's the What's Good Games podcast, segment 2. And this is where we talk about what we've been playing or any preview events that we have been to. And since there are no events right now, it's all about working from home and playing video games. And this week is brought to you by Pretty Litter. So you guys probably have heard me talk about my 2 amazing cats on the show. They've made appearances from time to time. And if you follow me on Instagram, you definitely have seen videos and photos of them. I love my boys. They're great. But what I don't love about my boys is that I have to deal with litter. It's every cat owner's bane, but we endure because our little fuzzy friends are so adorable that we'll deal with the litter. But I've got some good news. There's options. If you have been unhappy with the litter that you're using, have you contemplated Pretty Litter? So let's talk about my test run with Pretty Litter that I've been doing. It's a kitty litter reinvented. And unlike traditional litter, Pretty Litter's super light crystals is the word that I was trying to use there. Trap odor and release moisture, resulting in dry, low-maintenance litter that doesn't smell. Pretty Litter is virtually dust-free because it's manufactured with a specialized de-dusting process. And less dust means less fuss. Pretty Litter also spares my sanity and storage space because it's shipped in a small, lightweight bag that lasts an entire month. That means no more bulky containers or frequent trips to the store. And as much as I appreciate an impromptu workout, hauling 40 pounds of cat litter around the store isn't what I would call ideal. Cat owners out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know why regular clay litter has to be so heavy, but it is. But good news, Pretty Litter isn't. In fact, when the box arrived, I was like, there's no way there's enough litter in here. And I was like, oh, dang. It's just really that light. But above all else, here's why Pretty Litter is a pet parent's hero. It's a health indicator. Pretty Litter monitors my cat's health by changing colors when it detects potential underlying issues. You won't find that kind of innovation in conventional litter. You guys may have seen on my Instagram that my little boy Ghost has been dealing with heart disease for about a year and a half now. And the thing about animals, cats in particular, is that they hide their illnesses really well. They never want their owners to know when they're not feeling good. And sometimes by the time an owner finds out that something's gone wrong with their kitty, it's too late to do anything about it. And that's honestly the origin story of how Pretty Litter came into being, is that the guy who invented it was like, yo, my cat could have potentially have been, saved and had a longer, healthier life if I had known something was going on sooner. Because turns out cat's not going to tell you. You got to figure it out on your own or find out when it's too late. And the thing about Pretty Litter is that it's got special crystals that detect the pH in your cat's urine, so you can tell if it's too alkaline or too acidic or too base based off the chemistry. There's a whole bunch of science words that I don't want to get wrong.
pH scale.
Yes, that's right. The pH scale. Science words that I don't want to get wrong. And particularly with my baby Ghost, now that he's been on diuretics for his, heart disease for a long time, it's affecting his kidneys, which means that, urine is a really important thing. Not to go down this weird TMI situation talking about my cat's pee, but listen, we're talking about litter, everybody. Anyway, long story boring. It's important to keep track of what's happening in the litter box, because it means that you could potentially spare your kitty some pain and spend more time with them because you caught a potentially devastating illness early. So if you are concerned about what's happening in the litter box, or maybe you just want less dust, or maybe you just want litter that's easier to manage, I encourage you to check out Pretty Litter. And you can do so with our special offer by visiting prettylitter.com and use our promo code What's Good for 20% off your first order. That's Pretty Litter, PrettyLitter.com. Promo code What's Good for 20% off. Again, one more time, prettylitter.com. Promo code What's Good, and then you can be just as obsessed with beautiful litter as I am. All right, so who wants to go first? I think, Steimer, you probably have to talk about Animal Crossing New Horizons first. And just as a reminder for people who missed our streams over the weekend, if you aren't part of our legendary membership or above, Steimer streamed her Animal Crossing island, and I learned way more about Animal Crossing than I think I've ever learned before.
And that's interesting that you learned it from me, because I feel like I'm actually terrible at Animal Crossing, but I still enjoy it. So like I'm an Animal Crossing noob, right? This is the first Animal Crossing I've participated in. I was really excited about this one. It seemed like a game I would like, and it definitely is a game that I like, because it is, it's gonna sound weird, but like it's just that kind of mindless repetition, or like, okay, and then like sandboxy, you're like, I want to build it like this or whatever. You kind of can just futz around and play it the way that you want to. So I see people like Amaris, and her town is like, whoa, hyper organized. She has like stamps on the ground indicating what kind of tree is what kind of fruit. And like she has money trees. She knows how to catch tarantulas. She knows like, whoo, like she's the Wikipedia of Animal Crossing compared to me, who's just like country bumpkin over here, doesn't know anything. Yes.
Can we talk for a second about the tarantulas? So I saw a video of somebody posted their gameplay, and they were like running away from a tarantula that was chasing them around their island. And so like, are they bad? Are they good? Do you like them? What's the deal with the spiders?
I haven't had any tarantulas in my game yet, and I want them because they're worth money. So that's the thing. They will come at you and like attack you.
Oh yeah.
But if you can catch them, they're worth cash.
They're worth, I think, 8,000 bells is what I heard. And so last night, as I was playing this game trying to fall asleep, I came across a critter. Turns out that critter was a tarantula. And I walked up to it, missed it with my net. It like bit me. I passed out. And I was like, oh my God, that was terrifying. And then it was gone, so I couldn't seek my revenge. But what I've been seeing, and maybe you've seen this too, is people have been using their shovel to dig holes. And it like acts like it's a makeshift barrier, right? And so what you do.
It's like a moat. You just moat yourself in.
Yeah. You aggro the tarantula, and then you run to your makeshift moat. And then you catch those little fuckers because they can't get over the holes in the ground.
Huh. But Steimer, didn't your experience with real world IRL tarantulas teach us that they don't in fact harm you if you get bitten by one?
Oh, like they would never in a million years run at you. Like this is not normal behavior for a tarantula whatsoever. The tarantula would run under a rock or like try and get the fuck away from you. It would not be coming at you. And yeah, also if it did do that, touching it, which is all it's really doing, is touching your shoe, would not make you pass out. I mean, I guess unless you were like super arachnophobic and then you just fainted because of the overstimulation, like fine. But yeah, no, that's what I thought when I first started seeing these. I was like, oh my God, what? Tarantulas don't do that.
And
really
they're
weird.
huge for scale. They're like the size of your feet.
Yeah, they are big boys.
Ugh.
But yeah, I'm bad at Animal Crossing, which is sad, but I'm like not there yet. My game has not spawned these yet. I do just kind of, especially now, the first few days I played a lot. And then I now am kind of like logging on and making sure I do not my chores, but like do the things that I want to do every day and then kind of like log off waiting for some of the things to spawn. Although now I got my museum. Blathers has a museum, so I can like go around and collect all the things on the island and give them to him so he can be an owl and be excited about it. I don't know.
So Steimer, not to interrupt, but for folks that follow What's Good Games and that maybe aren't as active on social media as we are and seeing Animal Crossing just bombarding their feeds, how would you describe Animal Crossing New Horizons as a game?
Animal Crossing New Horizons is deceptive. So it appears to be a very cute, charming game where you build a little house on a little island and you make little animal friends and you know, have a simple life of shaking fruit trees and picking up things off the ground and crafting them in your house. But then it has like such a deeper level of if you want to min-max this thing, like Amaris, like I've seen everybody on social media doing, where they just have absolutely insane houses, insane setups. It's crazy the amount of creativity that goes into this, that can go into it. So it's almost like, and Lego is a bad example, but maybe like a dream scenario or something else where like the more creative, you
like
can
a
kind
Fallout
of flex
where
your
people build their
creativity.
houses or their towns, like towns out of their houses in Fallout.
Yeah, kind of like that. Although I think you have a little more flexibility here in Animal Crossing. There's a lot more styles you can choose from. And you can also custom put things in the game. So you can make your favorite jacket in this game and you can...
Like the What's Good
or
Games
you could
shirt.
make... Exactly. Or you can make a What's Good Games shirt like somebody did. And now I'm wearing around the town. But yeah, for me, like if you looked at my town right now, you'd be 0% impressed with it. It's really not.
I was impressed with it when I saw it.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, that's not high praise coming from me because I'm just got out of my tent. But
Oh yeah,
it's
right. Like
I think the thing with Animal Crossing, it's the hardest part for me is that there's really no point to this game. It really is just about. It's really just about like Steimer was saying, you know, you can take it as you want, but it's just about living your life on an island, continually upgrading, earning miles, traveling around, like making your shit look good. That's my understanding of it. And that's been the issue that I've had with this game is I don't have any directive. And I've said this before, but it's not like, you know, Story of Seasons or Stardew Valley where there is kind of like an over goal, right? Like there's a friendship meter with the town. There's like the possibility of, you know, building romance with the town, with the citizens and having kids and like, you know, having all these cool new animals and like making so much money that you can buy all these awesome rad things. And I guess to some sort of extent it's like that, but this is literally just about living on an island. And I found that during the day, I don't have much, I don't have any real urges to play it during the day, but at night, like as I'm in bed and just kind of unwinding, that's when it sounds good. Because I know it's just a bunch of mindless repetition, like Steimer was saying, that you're going to be doing. It's like, okay, I'm going to go shake these trees. I'm going to go catch these bugs, talk to everyone, go through my Nook Miles Plus, which are essentially daily tasks that you can do to get miles. And then it's like, okay, then I go to bed, I wake up, and then like I go on with my life. But at night, I think is when I'm enjoying this game the most because I feel like I'm just trying to unwind anyway. But during the day, I'm thinking of all these like narrative-driven games I can be playing. So it's kind of like a weird thing. But I think I have found my jam with Animal Crossing, and that's just to play in bed before I go to sleep.
yeah, it's so the Nook Miles is a good thing to bring up too. Yeah, so this is a newer sort of currency in this game. Bells are the same; they're still there, but Nook miles are things that you earn by doing things in the game. It's not super directive, but it does give you some idea of like what you can or should be doing, which is nice, especially because I think there are a lot of new people coming to the game at this time. So like you start off with just the main Nook miles missions, which are really simple things like you get miles for showing up on the island. Woohoo! But then as you go further, it unlocks Nook Miles Plus, which are like, as Brittany said, more of the daily tasks. Not even daily. They basically complete as soon as you do the thing. So it might just be something as easy as catch 5 butterflies, and you can just catch 5 of any type of butterfly and it will complete and you can knock it out, and then another one will refresh in its place. So it kind of constantly gives you little things to be doing if you are feeling like maybe you don't quite know what to do right now, but you just want like to do something dumb that feels productive. You can do those and then be like, haha, I checked something off the list. Great. Got an extra couple 100 miles and now I can go do whatever. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I need to go to someone's island now and sell my peaches.
Oh, girl, I'll take your peaches all day, every day. Peaches.
Yeah,
I got apples.
Oh, ooh, good. See, that's so. I was like, my friend Raz. I was like, hey, I need to come to your island and I stupidly didn't check with him to see what he had on his island. So I went over there and I went to go sell, and they were like, it was super low. They were like, they will give you like 4,000 for like 40 peaches, and I was like, excuse you? Hell no. So I said no, and I backed out, and then I was like, wait, Raz, what fruit do you have on this island? And he was like, peaches. Son of a bitch.
Gotcha.
So there are little things where, again, yeah, if you are an Animal Crossing newbie like me, you don't know. These are things that I learned from people who are good at Animal Crossing, but there is such like a interesting economic system. So it's all about supply and demand. So it really does actually teach you economics. So if your island, has peaches as the main trade, guess what? They're worth jack shit on your island. But then you go to, say Brittany's island, whose main import is apples. And, then I can go sell my peaches to her and I can make way more money there. And she can come to my island and sell her apples at my island.
I love video games. This is ridiculous.
Supply and demand, baby. Yeah.
Oh, not to mention like the debt you get saddled with every time you upgrade. Your shit.
Yeah,
it's like,
so
here's debt, but it's no interest, but here's a lot of debt. Take it.
I mean, I wish the debt worked like that. I'm not going to lie. If I could just
like
take out a loan and have zero interest and pay it off whenever I fucking felt like it, that'd be amazing. Like, these are the world's greatest loans. There's no payment schedule. It's literally that you walk up to the ATM and pay it when you feel like it. The only gate is like, then you can only have one loan at a time, which like, who cares? Of course, it's like makes sense. So you can't break the system and accrue massive amounts of debts. You only can have one debt at a time. But I'm like, this system is actually pretty dope. Can we use it?
So I saw that someone in my Twitter timeline owes Tom Nook like $380,000 or 380,000
bells. Yeah.
So what's like the highest debt that you've had so far?
Oh, right now I paid off like 20,000 of it, but I'm 170,000 bells because I upgraded the house to a bigger size house, and then you can add on rooms that will also be more. And then I think
so you're doing a real estate investment.
I am making real estate investments. I don't know. Like, I haven't figured out how to get my town square to be a real town square yet. I assume that that's coming, but I have successfully built the store. I've built the museum. I'm waiting for like residents to move in. I want to have some fun new neighbors and see what they look like, because I just have Frida the cheeseburger lady and then Donkey Kong fake boy. So
I have the seagull and I don't know what else.
Bear. The seagull that's like drunk on the beach.
No. It's not a seagull. It's like an eagle. I got stung by wasps, and he looked at me. He's like, I'm looking at something I don't really want to look at right now. Oh God, that's you.
And then, then he teaches you how to make medicine, though.
No, he didn't.
He didn't? What a butt.
No, I'm literally walking around with a swollen eye, and no one is helping me, Steimer. No one's helping me.
I think after a certain number of times you get stung, somebody will teach you. So
oh my God.
I got stung like 3 or 4 times, and then somebody was like, you look a mess. You should learn how to make medicine. Because the recipe is literally the hornet's nest that falls and a bunch of weeds. And that's it. It's really easy to make.
It's really bad. I named my city Raccoon City, but how I did it was
I was like, that wouldn't fit.
Yeah, R-A-K, and then I don't know what it's called. Sorry, ignorant here. The German U with the little 2 dots on top. I think it's a German U.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like Raccoon City. So I'm going to try to convert my island into a death apocalyptic island. So it's all like
nice.
So maybe the swollen eye fits with the theme. I'm not sure yet.
I think
we have a question from Devin Knits, patreon.com/what's good games, where every Wednesday I pull for questions. And then you submit them, and then I insert them into the document. It's magic. Devin asks, do you think you will stick with playing Animal Crossing for the long haul, or drop off sooner rather than later? Also, what's your favorite chore to do on the game? Thanks as always.
I think I will, because it's not going to be a game that I binge. It's just, for me, it's not a bingey game. And, okay, pro tip that I just learned from Amaris on Twitter. You can make money trees.
Okay, I saw that. What?
So, you know how sometimes along the ground you'll see like a glowing gold thing and like you dig it up and there's a bag of money? If you plant money in it, a money tree grows. Why don't they tell you this? It's bullshit.
Oh my God. No, I have a glowing thing, but I don't have a shovel yet. So I've been looking at it and I'm like, what is this? But you're telling me if I dig it up, it'll grow into a tree?
So the thing she said that I was confused by is she was like, then you have to get a bag of money. And she's like, I use 10,000 bells. And then you plant 10,000 bells and cover it up and wait, and then a money tree will grow.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm like, do you just withdraw from where? How are you making a bag of money?
Well, we'll figure this out together, Steimer.
I don't know.
You and I will figure.
We have some problem solving to do, but if we can figure it out, then the tree will grow and sprout 10,000. You'll make $30,000 every couple days.
Yeah. Fuck yeah! I hope I stick with it. I hope I stick with it. It's just my whole issue is finding purpose to this game. And I know for a lot of people, the purpose is just to relax and unwind and decorate a house. But the house decorations provide no stat boosts or anything to the game. So it's like, I'm like, why do I care?
What would it do?
I have enough problem caring about my IRL house, let alone a house like, in the game. But we'll see. Maybe if Steimer will be my senpai, because she's been playing a little longer than I have, she can teach me the ways.
Oh, no, we both need Amaris as our senpai. Because,
all right.
The one thing that will make me stop playing this game is that I see people on Twitter whose stuff is way better than mine, and I'm like, oh man,
I got so far to go.
It's mostly like, man, I suck at this game.
I know.
And this is a game you're not supposed to suck at. Like, there's no skill involved. I don't understand. I just feel bad about myself.
Oh no, Steimer, no. Don't feel bad about yourself. If Animal Crossing is making you feel bad about yourself, maybe you need an Animal Crossing intervention.
Yeah. Oh man, no, it's mostly Twitter that's making me feel bad about myself.
How are you so creative?
It's not the game itself. It's seeing about other people's games on social media that I'm now comparing to.
Yeah. We'll get there together, baby girl. We'll be the Animal Crossing noobs support group.
And here's me over here being like, I don't care about Animal Crossing.
That's okay.
You don't have to.
Ducks and runs. Because I'm just like, my thing is like, I love that it's bringing people happiness and joy, relaxation, whatever you get out of Animal Crossing. I think that's great for you. There's just something about that game that's never been appealing and never will be appealing. And short of like physically giving me dollars in my hand to play it, like I'm just not going to. So Nintendo was very kind enough to provide me with a code for the game, but I then reached out to Rihanna and said, hey, do you want to play this game and then come talk about it on the show like in a couple of weeks? And she was like, hell yeah, I'll play. And I was like, great. Because I was just like, there's just something about this game that has never spoken to me. That I tried Pocket Camp, and I know everyone's like, well, Pocket Camp wasn't the same thing. It wasn't real Animal Crossing. And I was like, yeah, but like it had the bones there, and it just like wasn't for me. And I don't know. I think I'm with you, Britt, in the sense that the lack of purpose, it would be frustrating for me, and that's just the type of gamer I am. But I absolutely can see how it would be very relaxing for people to be like, I just want to plant stuff and visit my friends and like
go
decorate
fishing,
my house and
shake some trees,
run from tarantulas.
Also, full disclosure, I meant to do this at the top. Nintendo also provided me with a code, so don't sue me.
I bought mine, so
Britt's like, or Steimer's like, I just used my actual money to pay for it. Thank you.
I used money from my wallet.
Oh man. Yeah, so it was just like one of those things. But I'm glad that you're having a good time, and I think that we should check in with your respective houses once, or your islands, once you guys have, played for like a week or two, and see how
I don't
you're
even
doing.
think we're Switch friends.
My only Switch friend is my dad. So kind of like your dad's your only Steam friend. My Switch
Yeah.
friend is, So like we can remedy this.
We can fix that. Yeah, let's do that because I want to sell these fucking peaches so I can pay off part of my debt.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be good because right now, like, my island is such a shit show. I don't trust anyone to come but you and not judge me.
Well, I've heard that people will come to your island and like dig stuff up and take it.
They
like,
can't. So if you invite somebody to your island, you have to make them a best friend for them to be able to interact with anything on your island. So like you can have, like, if you just come to my island but you're not a best friend, you can't touch my shit. Like you can't
Now,
troll
didn't
me.
you screw up Greg's flowers?
Yes, I'm best friends with Greg. So this was an accident. I didn't know. I was just being an idiot, and I was running around the flower bed, and then he like did the aggravated thing, and I was like, what? And then he texted me because I still don't know how to chat in this game. It works. He can chat at me, but I don't know how to reply. And he was like, you ruined the flowers. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, the petals will fall off if you run over them. But he's like, don't worry about it. It'll grow back in a couple of days. It was just like, he was like, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh, that's
like,
so funny.
oops.
I mean, generally you just run over all that shit. Nothing happens. But what do we know? We're noobs.
I
Invite
didn't
us with
know.
caution. And even Maria was like, I have stuff for you. Help me. And I'm like, yes, Maria, help me. Help me, Rihanna. Everyone.
Yeah, Greg helped me a lot because I have cherry
poor.
trees now, and I have he gave me literally every fruit except obviously peaches, which is what the one fruit he needed. And so before I even had fired up Animal Crossing, I'd asked him about like his experience with it because I saw they did like a review or whatever. And he was like, well, I can help you get a lot of stuff, but you're on your own for peaches. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so like fired up the game, and then it was like, your island has peaches. And so I just texted him. I was like, hey, look at this. And he was like, oh man, we're in business. And I was like, yes, yes, we are.
No,
I've
really
seen that he has a very
game.
intense shrine to Jen on his
Oh
island.
my God, that's so
Yes,
scary, but so
it's
amazing
really
at the same
creepy.
time.
I think the creepier thing was during our Patreon stream, she was also on the island, and she just stood in that room. It wasn't done yet at the time. And she held a praying mantis up that she had caught, and
So
she was
weird.
just holding this bug. And I texted her a screenshot of it, and I was just like, are you okay? And she just wrote back, touch my bug. Like, I can't touch your bug. That's not how this game works. I don't know what you want me to do.
Oh my God.
But it was pretty funny.
No, it's
They
definitely
are
a cute, relaxing
Bunch of
game.
weirdos.
And I appreciate, I don't know if this game could have come at a better time with the shit fire that's happening in the real world right now. I think it is providing a lot of people a lot of comfort and just an escape. And it's nice. Good job, Nintendo.
Yes.
You did the thing.
Yes, good job.
You
Good
did the
good
thing.
job timing it.
All right, so this isn't like a hard pivot into a weird game, but an unexpected game for me. So I broke out my Oculus Quest headset and updated it, tuned it on, and I was like, I think I want to try some VR titles. So a friend of mine reached out who was doing PR for a game called Down the Rabbit Hole. So this is from a little studio called Cortopia Studio, and it's a VR adventure, and they're dubbing it the newest chapter to Lewis Carroll's classic Alice in Wonderland. So it's out this week. It launched on March 26th, and it's available for Oculus Quest, Oculus Rift, Viveport, PSVR, and Steam are going to be available soon, it says. So out for Oculus now, and then the other platforms are on the way. So just a little blurb from the PR team about the game. It says, Down the Rabbit Hole is a VR adventure that serves as a prequel story to Lewis Carroll's classic Alice in Wonderland tale. In the game, the player discovers a girl in search of her lost pet, Patches, that has wandered into Wonderland. Players must guide her as she moves through a mysterious world looking for her missing pet. But which way? Players control her fate by plotting her journey through an immersive diorama that wraps around them. Through the game's many twists and turns, they'll find themselves exploring the wondrous corners of Wonderland, solving puzzles and uncovering secrets and making choices for the girl and other characters along the way. So I thought that was an interesting description because for me, I've always enjoyed watching Alice in Wonderland, both the cartoons and the live action films that have been. I know the book is really popular. We've got a copy of it on our bookshelf. And I've always just been kind of a fan. And you guys know how I feel about VR. I think that it's a really amazing, wondrous piece of technology that just has been really hard for me to get into because the physicality of wearing the VR headsets is really challenging for me because I have like a freakishly small face. And so whenever I put the VR headsets on, I really have to strap them on very tightly in order to keep the lenses on the bridge of my nose where it's in focus. And that's been it means that I usually can't play VR for more than, 20 minutes or so at a time before it starts to get like physically uncomfortable for my face. And so when I heard about this game, I was like, oh, it sounds really cool. And I haven't played VR in a while. You know what? They're offering me a code. Why don't I just give it a try? So I downloaded it. And boy, I was not expecting just how much I really enjoyed this game. So what I really love about my time with the game is, first off, like I didn't stop playing until my neck hurt so much from the weight of the VR headset kind of like drifting my head forward. I was probably in VR for almost a full 60 minutes before I was like, okay, now I need to take a break. And I took the Oculus Quest off and I had these gigantic red marks all over my face. And John saw me and he was like, oh no.
And those things last a while.
I know. I was like, oh no, is it bad? He was like, ooh. And so I went to the mirror and I was like, oh dang. I had just had these stripes, one giant one across my forehead and then across my cheeks where the headset was like, strapped down to my face.
Yep.
So that aside, I think with that, the reason I'm telling you that is because I was so interested in what I was playing that I ignored this physical discomfort because I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually really cool. So you started off as this girl and she's unnamed. And what I really enjoyed is that there's key points throughout the narrative where they'll give you choices. So your first choice is your pet Patches. You get 3 options. You get to choose, is your pet Patches a cat, a tortoise, or a lizard, I think was the third option.
What? That's some weird choices. Like I was expecting cat, dog, fish.
I was expecting cat, dog, rabbit.
I don't know. Well, the rabbits feature pretty prominently as a species and character in Alice in Wonderland, the kind of like lore. So I think that's why they didn't go with rabbit. But I like that they integrated choice, even though the choice, I have yet to see like how meaningful that choice is, or if it's just like about player customization. And so I was like, okay, this is cool.
I feel like chasing a tortoise is just unrealistic. Like you would catch it fast.
It's not about necessarily chasing so much as finding where they wandered off to. And then like the kind of visual illusions of like, oh, you think you see them over there, but are they really over there, or is there some kind of magical?
Or are you high on drugs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, listen, Alice in Wonderland is basically just like Marijuana, the movie. So I'm playing the game, and the VR like traversal is done really well. So the whole idea of like Alice like kind of falling down this tunnel and landing in Wonderland. So you're like falling down this tree trunk, and like as you move through the world, it like slowly wraps around this giant tree, and you kind of like corkscrew your way down the tree. And they have these grips on either like placed on either side of like the window openings. So you use the Oculus controllers to grab on, and then you can move it up and down, and then you can turn it side to side. using when you're holding both hands. And if you just grab with one hand, you can just kind of move yourself up and down, but you could also move it forward and back, which I really liked, because sometimes I'm a VR drifter. I always like walk outside like the Guardian Zone, and then I run into something because I just move a lot when I'm playing in VR. And so it was really helpful when I got up close to the edge and the virtual walls like stop moving. I could back up, grab one of the handholds, and then pull the world closer to me so I could see it. And I really liked that functionality. And then also, if I stopped and just looked up, I could see all of the levels that I had passed like on my way down. So if I really wanted to, I could handhold and crawl my way up the tree trunk and look inside those levels that I had passed further up the level chain. And I thought that was like a really nice virtual reality touch for traversal that really sets apart VR games that are designed specifically for VR and games that are like adapted or ported to VR, which thankfully, you know, we're not seeing too many of those these days, which I think is a smart move. And so I'm going through the world, and of course, you know, you meet the rabbit, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I've made these invitations for the Queen of Hearts, and she's throwing this party." And then, you know, air quotes, Alice. She's not Alice. It's a different girl, and then you actually get to pick her name later on. Kind of like comes in, and they all go flying, and then one of the collectible items is to go through each level and collect all of these invitations that you've scattered, and try to help out the rabbit. And all of his like hundreds of children. Like one of the opening lines was,
Wow.
was she murdered 37 of my children. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, the queen murdered them. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then the next scene, you see all these little baby rabbits bouncing around. And I was like, oh no.
Oh, he was busy.
That's the whole idea, right? So I just was really taken aback by how well done the traversal and the puzzle mechanics were. So
does it kind of look like Moss? In the way you control it?
Sort of, but not really. So and what I mean by that is that it does feel like you're like an observer from the outside. It's not it's only first person in specific settings. So you'll be kind of like an outside observer, and then you'll control your character with the thumbstick on the Oculus controller. And then you'll like see her walking around. And then there's certain interactive elements where like you're talking to the caterpillar, for example. So I had this conversation with the caterpillar, and then it'll zoom in, and then you're in first person. And what I like about that is that you get to see the detail up close, and the character models look much better when they're up close, and then you can kind of look around for puzzle clues, and then you kind of like, like X out, and then it zooms you back out. And that's when you kind of traverse around the inside of this giant tree trunk. So I felt like with Moss, what I liked about the traversal in Moss is that I never got woozy at all, because it was all, I don't want to call it third person because it doesn't feel that way. I don't know if there's and it's not isometric either. I don't know if there's a specific VR term for the perspective that you get when you're like an outside a giant looking in, like a diorama, like a dollhouse almost.
Bird's eye view? That's too far up.
Yeah, because bird's eye then kind of indicates that you're overhead, but you're not. You're from the side, like you're cut out. I guess diorama is maybe the word, but
yeah, that's close enough.
But yeah, so it's similar, but all of Moss was like that, and not all of this game is like that. It feels a little bit more like, oh my gosh, what was that amazing RPG from last year that like won all the VR awards? You had like the God View.
Oh.
Shit. I'm having a brain
God,
fart.
no.
I'll
is
think
it
of
the
it.
one? Yeah, not God. No, fuck. What was it?
Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about. That we saw it at GDC.
Yeah. I played that one.
I played it too. Okay. Anyway, I'll move on from that.
Yeah.
But I just really like what they did, and like I love the setting of Alice in Wonderland, and like you got the queen and you got the cards. Like one of the first missions you have is like you meet this card who's a half number. He's like the card 4.5. And like his like plight is that the queen doesn't like halves, and everyone makes fun of him. And then you like team up to kind of find patches, and then you stumble upon this cook, and you have to do this recipe, and like just like the little touches that they've added are great. And I haven't gone back to a VR game in a while. And I was really glad that I had the opportunity to play this. And like, I, want to thank, Cortopia and Zebra Partners for reaching out, because I probably would never have found this game just by going to browse the Oculus store, because turns out I'm just not browsing the Oculus store. If I'm turning my Quest on, I'm playing Beat Saber, or Audica, and like, that's it.
Yeah.
And so
I still
I'm
get
interested.
the push notifications for Oculus Quest. I have them specifically on my phone. It is always reminding me of new games, because I think like you, I haven't picked mine up in a long time. But when I do pick it up, I'm addicted to it for like a good solid week or so, where like, what's new, what cool experiences can I have? And then I sit it down and then I forget it. But
yeah. And I know that everyone's talking about Half-Life Alyx, and I know on What's Good Games Live, we talked about it being exclusive to Index. And like, for the record, it is not exclusive to Index anymore. You can get it on a variety of VR platforms that are PC only. So you can't get it on PSVR, and you can't get it on anything that's tied to mobile, like a Samsung Gear, if people are even making games for that anymore. But my thing was with Oculus or with Quest, you have to use the link cable, so you're still tied to your PC. And now, based off all of the high praise, I kind of feel, interested in trying it out on my main powered on my Rift, because we do have an Oculus Rift here as well. We do have an HTC Vive too, somewhere. Well, it might be at John's office, which we can't go back and get right now. But I want to try Alyx, because everyone's talking about how great Half-Life Alyx is. And this game has kind of reminded me, like, hey, don't sleep on VR. If you own a VR headset, there's still a lot of really fantastic games out there. And I just really loved this game. And, it's only $19.99. I'm about halfway through the game, or at least it feels like it. So it seems like it's a pretty short game. I would guess like 2 to 4 hours, depending on how much time you're exploring. But, I really enjoyed it. So if you've got a Quest and you're at home, working from home like most of us, and you're like, hey, I'm looking for something to play, this is something I would recommend you check out.
Noted.
Yeah.
I just got to pull myself away from Yakuza, which I've done. I've done it.
So, I mean, yeah, the other game you can't talk about, but next week you can talk about.
It's fucking on.
But you already talked about Animal Crossing, and then Steimer, you were talking about. We talked about Ori last week. Oh, have you been playing Roundguard?
I only played a little bit of it. I played basically one run through of it, and I made it to the final or whatever, a final boss. I don't know if there would have been more, because I died, and then
that was it.
And then I was like, that was fun for that. I'm not gonna. It's one of those games where I would hop on and just do a quick run through of as far as I could get, and then I would probably stop and then put it away, and then again do it, rinse, repeat. Right? Like, it's something that I just want to hop into for something quick. I would play it more on my Switch, I think. I feel like that might be the better platform for me for that, because if I'm on my Xbox, I don't really want to play a Peggle type game. I don't know. It's just personal preference.
What platform are you playing it on?
Xbox.
Yeah, I have it on my phone through Apple Arcade, and it's awesome. I don't have
I could see that working well on your phone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because like essentially it's just like, it's really easy touch control, and I do sometimes find it a little difficult if I have to use an ability while I'm aiming, but for the most part, it's like exactly what I want. I want to do like a run or two and then put it down, because that game is harder than I anticipated. And I've been
I had to pick the rogue because the double jump is just too OP, I think. I love it. But yeah, I was super bummed. Like, I was like, I made it to the boss. Amazing. First run, first try. Great. And they just murdered me like straight. It was really sad. I was like, oh, I am dead. Oh, I'm very, very dead.
Yeah, I wish that they had ramped the difficulty a little bit softer and that it would have been, at least through the first full level, because I played like 4 or 5 times before I got to the intermission, which is like after the first boss. And then I never made it to the so I made it to the first boss, and then there's like a mini boss, and then there's like the big bad at the very end. Still haven't made it all the way to the very end, but I've made it to the first big bosses. And then I just die. And not that I ever want mobile games to add options to be like, do you want to pay to like extend your life? But part of me is like, I can't get past this point, and it doesn't feel like I'm leveling up my overall stats in order to be able to get stronger to make it through the runs. And so I'm like, okay, so I feel like the general idea of this game is solid and really good, but I feel like some of the progression feels, the difficulty progression spike is just too unforgiving in the beginning. Like, I think like they need to maybe allow people more time to get used to the mechanics before they ramp the difficulty part of the roguelike element of this game up. And maybe this is just why I don't play roguelikes, because I'm just like, well, I don't want to fail continuously before I feel like I'm succeeding.
I think that that's actually a really interesting point, in that as you were saying that, I thought about other roguelikes and how the whole point of them is to really develop your skill and get better and work at it and grind at it and then do the thing and feel accomplished. That's why a lot of people really enjoy roguelikes. In this case, while yes, there is an element of knowing how and when, like basic geometry, I guess, of like ricocheting, at some point it also is partially just bouncing luck, right? Like you as a human cannot project every single way that you are going to bounce off of every single thing. So you can make a pretty good first shot and know where you're going to go. But after that, like, not really always up to you, especially if you don't pick the rogue and you don't have the ability to relaunch yourself back into the fray. You're just like, you kind of have to go where the wind takes you, and it's not always a good place. So I think it's actually kind of interesting in that a roguelike for this type of game just might not actually make any sense. Like, it just might, these two things may not combine. It's like teriyaki sauce on ice cream. I don't know.
Oh, that sounds weird.
It does.
Yeah.
I definitely absolutely feel exactly what you're saying, though, particularly since when you start a new run, like, you don't always get the double jump with the rogue when you start a run, which is something I learned.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, because I kept going back to the rogue, and then there was one run where I got a different ability, and I was like, no, where's the double jump? And I tried the warrior, and I tried the wizard, but yeah, like, I think that the kind of chance element of it is just too frustrating in a roguelike setting, and obviously, I already said I don't inherently like roguelikes, but I wasn't so anti the idea that I was like, I'm not going to play. I just had wished that the difficulty ramp was a little bit, more forgiving. But
yeah, it's a fun pop-in game. Do a run, see how far you get, put it down, come back to it later, do the same, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, exactly. But you're also reading a book.
I finished one of the most fascinating and also terrifying books that I have read in my lifetime.
You've been educating me during these breaks.
Yeah, it's been interesting. So, I mean, just at the beginning of the year even, I was like, I did pretty well reading last year, but I really wanted to make it more habitual this year. So I've been reading, and I'll usually read like a fiction book and then a nonfiction book to kind of keep my brain active and not be overloading on science all of the time, even though I do enjoy it. But so I just finished Why We Sleep, which is a book by Matthew Walker, who is a PhD. He works at UC Berkeley right now, I believe, in the sleep labs up there. And it's basically a deep dive on sleep and how it is so fundamentally tied to all of our systems, like in being a human being. I mean, also all animals really that do sleep do this, which actually I can't remember exactly. I feel like I can't remember the only ones that don't, but there's like basically everything takes some form of rest. Even when there was like always this myth or whatever that sharks don't sleep, sharks do sleep. They just don't have eyelids.
That's terrifying.
So they just can't close their eyes.
Oh God.
The thing I really enjoyed about this book is there were moments where I just laughed out loud, and it was shit like that where like the way he wrote it and the way it kind of like was delivered delivered as best you can in writing. I laughed out loud. But you obviously know, like, kind of like, whatever, sleep's important, but I do think we as a society overall tend to diminish sleep, and we tend to be like, it's fine, don't worry about it, especially in college or whatever. You're like, no, I must cram, I must learn all these things, there's not enough time. But reading this book, I'm like, holy shit, we're all stupid. We're all so dumb. Because actually everything that you do when you like pull an all-nighter just ruins everything you're doing anyway. So if you're trying to retain information, that all-nighter ain't gonna help you. It's going to completely ruin it. So like sleep is tied to memory. So like if you have basically, as you're learning things throughout the day, a lot of stuff gets stored in like your hippocampus, which is your short-term memory bank. Sleep allows your brain to take all of that stuff, clear the cache basically, and move it into the more, well, discard some of it if the brain deems it unimportant, and then move the things that are important into long-term memory so you can actually access that information later on. So they did a whole bunch of tests that are in this book about just sleep being tied to memory, and people who did these things and then stayed awake versus the people who did them and then went to sleep. And the people who went to sleep were like infinitely better at recalling all of this information. So there's stuff like that. There's other things tied to your physical health. So both in terms of your mental and physical body, like your gut health, your rate of infection, your ability to maintain a stable emotional state is also very heavily tied to sleep, which is, I'm sure everybody can relate to. You feel like if you haven't gotten sleep, a lot of that puts a lot of strain on the emotional centers of your brain, and it fatigues, I believe, the frontal cortex, which is like your I'm trying to think of like a funnier way to put it, but it's your like regulation center, right? Mm-hmm. Where like that's the business center. It keeps everything together. It's all business all the time. We're in power suits and shit. So like there's just so many elements of this book I found completely and utterly fascinating. So whether you like to digest audiobooks, or if you read physical books, or if you read hopefully on your Kindle, do not read on your iPad, or at least don't read on your iPad at night.
What about with night mode?
Please get it's better, but still impacts your sleep.
They turn the blue off in the screen.
They turn the blue off. I think in general those screens are not super great for nighttime.
I mean, I'm a paper purist. Like I don't read on screens anyway. It's like paper or bust. Paper or bust indeed.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating to learn about sleep in general and how it works, like how your body does fall asleep, the things that it needs in order to fall asleep. One of the things I thought was really funny is, so a lot of time I have trouble sleeping in general, but something that I'll usually do is like take a bath if I want to be able to sleep a little easier. I always thought it was because my body was too cold or whatever, like I just needed something to warm me up. Actually, your body needs to decrease its core temperature in order to stay asleep. So
it's true. I heard that getting it overheated in your sleep actually makes you have more nightmares. Was that in the book?
It also wakes you up. Like you cannot maintain sleep if your house is too warm, or if your bedding causes you to overheat.
That's why you're supposed to turn your thermostats down when you're in bed. And like John always gives me such a hard time when he's like, why are you trying to make it so cold at night? I go, because we're under the covers. I need to drop the temperature. It doesn't need to be 68. It needs to be 60. And maybe
65
even lower.
is the optimal temperature, but yes.
60, damn.
Yeah, I drop
65.
it down to 60 when we're sleeping.
That's real cold, but you do you.
Well, we have a lot of blankets on the bed. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, point about the bath was that what actually is happening there is the warm water will, so your hands, your feet, and your head are all vents. So the warm water is actually causing more blood flow to the venting parts of your body, allowing it to cool off faster, which is like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, okay, cool. So you get out of the hot bath and then your body's just like, whoosh, heat, vacate, and then you can fall asleep more easily.
Interesting.
Today I
always thought it was just because you get hot and it kind of just like makes you turn into a puddle of goo, and then you just want to sleep.
No, you get hot and then you get cold.
Now I'm taking a bath tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, take a bath. But there's a lot of things in there about caffeine, about alcohol, the way that they interact with your body. There's the number one tip if you're like, I'm not going to read this book. That's fine. So some of the main tips are set a steady bedtime and wake up time no matter what day it is. So don't do the thing where you're like, I'll be sleep deprived all week and I'll binge sleep on the weekends. There's no such thing as catching up on sleep. It is false. They have proven it false. It's not a real thing. You may sleep more after, but you will never, I guess what I should actually say is you will never truly recover from lost sleep. Your body will tend to binge sleep if it feels it's very deprived and it wants to get something back, but it's never going to be a one-to-one. This lost sleep is lost sleep. So setting a bedtime, sticking with it, that routine will help your body. Also doing things like Andrea was talking about with the light. So there were so many things in there where it's talking about how we as humans have fundamentally changed and just kind of screwed up our internal rhythms. One of them was the invention of the light bulb and how your circadian rhythm goes usually, I mean, it works without the sun because they've done this in a dark cave and it still happens. You still have a cycle of sleep. But a lot of the strength of that circadian rhythm is tied to the sun. So the sun comes up, our melatonin production decreases because of the light. And then as the sun starts to set, our melatonin starts to increase because it's dark. But it's light all the time here now, right? We got light everywhere. So it's just like interesting things like that where you're like, oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. And then the invention of basically work and causing everybody to go to work at the same time. So a lot of people struggle. I think, you, Brittany, were talking about this a little earlier before we started recording, how you tend to be more of what's called like an owl sleeper. You naturally are a little bit more awake at night. Yeah, a night owl. They have the owls and the larks and the whatevers. But people who tend to have more owl tendencies are super punished in this day and age because work usually still expects you to be somewhere at a certain time. Doesn't really give a damn about your circadian rhythm.
It's mostly just me like texting Brittany like TikTok videos and being like, are you awake yet? Are you awake yet?
Yeah. But there's a lot of suggestions he makes in there. He's like, I know that this is all pie in the sky and nobody will ever take this seriously. But if we as a society can, and certain workforce places have, so places like Google, for instance, are more flexible with their work hours, allowing people who do have those more nighttime owl tendencies to just live that way. And you find that those people are obviously infinitely more productive than somebody who's sleepy on the job. And oh God, and then they're also talking about like how sleep impaired, if you like have, I can't remember the exact number, so I'm not going to quote it, but basically whatever a certain amount of sleep deprivation is the exact same as being drunk. But we never talk about sleepy driving on the road. And sleeping driving is actually what kills more people than alcohol or drug use while driving, because while you are impaired while you are on alcohol or drugs, you're still awake. So the micro sleeps will kill more people because the car is essentially now a torpedo and you won't be stopping at all because you're asleep. You're not hitting the brake too late. You're just not hitting the brake at all. And so like the car is plummeting at whatever speed or the truck is plummeting at whatever speed. And God, there's just so much in this book that I could talk about forever.
That really resonates with me because I'll never forget when Jason and I were first dating. He lived an hour north of me and I would drive up to see him. He would drive down. But this particular time I drove up and I had to get back down and I left his house at like 3 a.m. and I had to drive. And I don't remember anything about that. And I wasn't drunk or I hadn't been drinking for a very long time. And so I was driving and the only thing I remember was semis driving past me. They were very blurry. And then I was home. And I totally I've always wondered about that night. And I was like, that was weird. So, I guess, sleep deprivation obviously was it. But firsthand, it's like, oh yeah, I've experienced that. That was very terrifying.
That's why
a very scary
thing. It's why
thing.
caffeine pills are such a big thing at truck stops. When you go, or at least they used to be. And that's why, a lot of people are pushing for these automated trucks, right? Which have autonomous driving and it's like robots driving versus humans because robots will never fall asleep. But it's dangerous driving for sure.
The truck driver thing was really scary because a lot of them, there's also other factors, but a lot of them are overweight or tend to have sleep apnea or those types of things, which means the little sleep they are getting isn't very restorative at all. And then they have these really long shifts. So you micro sleep at the wheel and you die probably, and a whole bunch of other people die. And that's just really terrifying. And yes, so automated trucks, please.
Get your
or like at
fucking
least
sleep.
like a some sort of system. Yeah, like yes. The rule of thumb is please get 8 hours of sleep, because Andrea was even saying before, she's like, but isn't it true that some people genetically don't need like a full 8 hours? And the book technically says yes, but the number percentage wise of population on Earth rounded is 0. So like that's how little.
Yeah, but you can't round when there's like 7 billion people on the Earth. Like that's a rounding error is still like hundreds of thousands of people.
Sure, but you're probably not one of them. Is my point.
Maybe I am, Steimer. Maybe I am. Because I was telling, so she was talking to us about this book that she's reading before we started recording tonight, and I was just like, it's just been a thing for me where I just don't sleep more than like, I generally get 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night, and I just can't physically sleep more. If I'm on vacation or if I'm at home and not working, I literally have nothing to get up for. I just can't sleep more hours. And I don't know. I just prefer to sleep in smaller bouts. And now I used to be a really terrible napper. Like I used to nap every day because I wasn't sleeping at night. But what I discovered was that once I started treating my ADHD by going to a psychiatrist and getting medication, I was able to start sleeping again, because for a long time I thought that I was having trouble with insomnia, only being able to sleep like 90 minutes at a time, and then waking up and then go back to sleep and then wake up, back to sleep, wake up, like every night. Just could not do it. And I was having these concentration errors and concentration problems throughout the day, and like obviously the sleep deprivation was exacerbating that. And so I finally went to see a psychiatrist because I was like, I have to talk to somebody about this. Like, this is driving me crazy. And then she was like, okay, well, let's put you on some medication. And then since I've been on medication, I actually sleep better, despite the fact that my medication is technically a stimulant, because I'm able to like work off all of that like mental energy during the day when I'm supposed to. And then it tapers off at a very specific time of day based on when I take my medication. So that way when I get to bedtime, which for me is generally between like midnight and 1 a.m. Sometimes if I have a really early morning, I'm able to slide it back to like 11 or 11:30. But generally speaking, I'm not getting into bed before midnight. And then I'm waking up at like 8 a.m. the next morning. And I'm like, wow, this is like, it was life-changing for me. So sleep habits are important. And I told her, I do all the things I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't do screens in bed. I have a routine. There's no TV in our bedroom. That was a contentious thing when John and I moved in together originally. I was like, this is the thing you got to know about me. It? Of course he did. And I was just like,
I don't know.
And I was just
Not
like,
everybody
no.
watches TV in the bed.
I mean, like a lot of people watch TV in bed. And I was just like, no. So he has his iPad that he'll like watch TV in bed with sometimes if I'm reading, but I'm just like, no, there's no TV in the bedroom. It's just not happening. And then I read before bed, so I have like a routine, and then like I turn off screens X amount of like minutes, usually like 60 minutes before bedtime. It's like, okay, it's time to transition into like no more phone, no more computers, no more video games. And and then like I feel like I had a rhythm, but now that these last couple of weeks, everything's been thrown out of whack. But like these last couple of weeks, everything's out of whack. So
I think that's pretty understandable. Yeah.
You know what's weird? And I don't know if your book talks about this. This is the most Brit thing ever. But whenever I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep, I go on Reddit No Sleep. And I read, because I can't shut my brain off, right? So I'll go to Reddit No Sleep and I'll read a whole bunch of fucking scary stories about like exorcisms and demons and ghosts. And then I fucking sleep like a baby.
What?
Oh, okay, you're really weird. So I guess, for you, actually, so what he recommends, though, is like if you find yourself laying in bed for a long time, unable to fall asleep, just get out of bed. Like, don't lay there. Get out of bed. Go out to your like living room, whatever, and do something you find relaxing. So apparently for you,
It is.
The relaxing thing is reading horror stories.
Dude.
Like, you're not the only one. I actually have other friends who also are like, I love falling asleep to murder podcasts. And you're like, I mean, all right.
What?
Sure.
no. See, like, I can't do that because that's real, right? That shit's real. I'm talking like stupid, oh, my little boy was possessed by a demon and here's like my 5-minute read about my experience. I think, and I don't know if this is true, but I think what happens is it gets my mind just like, it exercises my brain and then I fall asleep. But other than that, like, it's my go-to. When we were in Turks and Caicos, Jason and I, we both had terrible jet lag, and he woke up with me around 4 a.m. He's like, I can't sleep. I'm like, I'm going to find us a scary story to read. We both read it, and then we both just fell asleep immediately.
That's so crazy.
Weirdos attract weirdos, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not, they definitely did not mention anything about reading horror.
No Reddit, no sleep in your book. Wow.
No, didn't make it there.
No, I really enjoy this conversation. It's fascinating, and I love that you read these kind of things because it's something I probably will never read, but I love the information that I'm getting from you. So thank you, one Christine Steimer.
You're very welcome.
Oh, and on that note, I feel very sleepy.
Legit. Yeah.
That's the sleep pressure building in your brain.
Ooh.
Everyone's going to go practice some good sleep habits tonight. Well, thank you for that.
Please do.
And thank you for listening to the show and for being part of what we do. Don't forget, we will be back Monday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/whatsgoodgames. Please come join us if you're working from home and you can have a second screen experience that isn't distracting to what you do. And we will also be streaming next week. Turns out next week, a release date for a pretty big video game is happening. Brittany, what game is coming out next week? Can you remind me?
Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, so she watched me play the demo on our Twitch stream after What's Good Games Live last week, but next week the game is fully out, so of course we're going to be streaming that. So the exact time of that isn't yet solidified, so if you aren't following us on Twitter, what'sgood_games, it's a good place to do that. And also follow us on Twitch and turn your notifications on, so when we do go live, you'll get that ping and you'll know exactly, because we have to stream that game, obviously.
I'm so excited. You did a good job.
Thanks.
Resident Evil has this little curve to it, but once you get the hang of it, especially this third one, then you're moving and grooving.
Yeah, I mean, I screamed quite a bit, but you know, as you do, things happen.
I got you.
We're going to scream. What's Good Screams, everybody? It's going to be a new series. We're working on it. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for being here. We love you. Goodbye, everybody.